A boy named Max is celebrating with his foster family as his brother Luke receives admission to college. However, Max feels unhappy about it, as Luke is his favorite. Luke assures him that they will reunite once his college journey is completed. Later one night, Max overhears his foster parents, Kuhr and Sylvia, weeping. When he investigates, they inform him that Luke has taken his own life. Max is in disbelief and breaks down in tears. Currently, Max is an adult struggling with drug addiction. One night, he trespasses onto a property and begins to create graffiti. The police arrive and apprehend him for vandalism. His father, Kuhr, a police officer, interrogates him about the frequency of his incarcerations. Kuhr expresses his concern for him. Nevertheless, Max remains indifferent. He then states that he has requested the authorities to expunge his criminal record, which requires him to serve as a superintendent in a nursing home. Initially, he is frustrated, but ultimately he consents. Max arrives at the home. Upon his arrival, he notices someone observing him from an upper window. He dismisses it and proceeds inside. The caretakers, Les and Juno, hand him the keys while outlining the rules he must adhere to. They also inform him that access to the 4th floor is prohibited due to the presence of mentally ill elderly individuals receiving treatment. He begins his work, knocks on a door but receives no response. Consequently, he enters and hears some sounds emanating from the adjacent room. Out of curiosity, he peeks inside and discovers 2 elderly individuals in a compromising situation while wearing masks. He promptly exits. Subsequently, he heads to the swimming pool to tidy up where elderly individuals are engaged in exercise. An elderly woman named Norma approaches him and introduces herself. As they converse, unexpectedly, a woman's head begins to bleed from the pool. Panic ensues, and everyone exits the pool, leading to her being taken for special care. Later that night, while he is asleep, Max is abruptly awakened by his brother's scream. After regaining consciousness, he hears another scream originating from the upper 4th floor. He glances at the door and notices it ajar. He securely locks it and attempts to return to sleep. The following morning, he is awakened by knocks on his door. He encounters an elderly man named Lou, who informs him of a terrible accident that occurred the previous night, resulting in a complete mess in the room. Therefore, he must clean it up. Upon opening the door, he is taken aback by the presence of everyone. They warmly welcome Max and introduce themselves. Suddenly, Max observes a woman sketching peculiar images. She looks at him and sticks out her tongue. It is quite strange when Dr. Sabian appears from behind and introduces himself, also remarking that Max possesses beautiful eyes. At night, as he slumbers, the masked woman materializes in his chamber. He opens his eyes, and the woman plunges a knife into him. Instantly, he awakens from his nightmare. Unable to find rest, he steps outside. While traversing the corridor, he hears the same scream once more. At that instant, Norma approaches from behind and startles him. She inquires why he is awake. He attempts to question her about the sound, but suspecting it may be a figment of his imagination, he refrains and states that he cannot sleep. Subsequently, the two of them proceed to Norma's room. He observes a chess piece and queries Norma about it. She responds that it belonged to her friend who passed away a few days prior. She adds that it is her passion to collect personal belongings as a final remembrance of individuals. Max then notices a partially torn photograph and asks if it could be another keepsake. Norma, describing the reverse side of the photograph, reveals that it is of his son. In a dispute, he tore it apart, and he too has since died, which is why she struggles to sleep at night. She then asks Max what prevents him from sleeping. He remains largely silent. The following day, while fulfilling his duties, Max again hears the disturbing noise. This time, without much contemplation, he heads straight to the 4th floor. He bursts into the rooms and discovers that they are filled with decaying elderly individuals. Their skin appears lifeless. Their nails are decomposed and blood oozes from their eyes. Suddenly, the elderly man who had seen Max from the window on his first day rises and assaults him. He attempts to fend him off, but is unsuccessful. At that moment, Les and Juno arrive and intervene, instructing Max to descend immediately. Subsequently, Max consults the doctor, who cautions him that he may encounter difficulties if he fails to adhere to the rules. Max expresses his regret, assuring the doctor that he will not repeat such behavior. That evening, Max observes the elderly individuals celebrating, which he finds peculiar. Norma arrives and references the incident on the 4th floor, recounting the lost individuals he encountered there. She reassures him with the phrase, "A heart knows a heart." She elaborates that it is his emotions he wishes to experience regarding them, and since there is nothing he can do, he should steer clear of them. That night, he dreams he is once again on the 4th floor, attempting to persuade the old man who is facing the wall that he means him no harm. However, the man turns around and attempts to attack him, while others mock him. In the morning, Max finds himself in the poker room when he observes Sabian and Les in a dispute with Norma. After they depart, he proceeds to Norma's room. She emerges with unusual makeup, explaining it is for the mystery night party. He inquires about the argument, but Norma insists that everything is fine. He confides in her that the death of his brother is what keeps him awake at night. He then presents her with a half-torn drawing he created for her. She becomes emotional and abruptly tells Max that something is amiss in the place and he must leave. However, before she can complete her thought, someone arrives, prompting her to hurry back to her room. Concerned by Norma's words, Max returns to his room, troubled, and decides to check on her again. He discovers Juno there, who informs him that Norma is unwell and that he should return later. In the morning, as he tends to the yard, he observes the same elderly man from the fourth floor attempting to write something with his own blood. At that precise moment, Norma falls from the top of the gate and dies on the spot. Max remains standing there in state of shock. The police arrive and remove the body. The doctor presents Norma's recent mental health report to the police and offers comfort to Max. During Norma's funeral gathering, everyone appears to be very sorrowful, while Lou stands apart from the crowd. Max approaches him to offer consolation. He then inquires whether Norma had a history of suicidal tendencies, prompting Lou to question Max's reasoning behind such a thought. In response, Max mentions her final words regarding the location. Suddenly, Lou exhibits strange behavior, but shortly thereafter, he regains his composure and explains that it was merely a seizure, which has been occurring more frequently lately. Later that night, Max finds himself in a patient's bed. He sees the fourth floor, elderly individuals scratching their skin, Norma's lifeless body, the old man writing at the window, and suddenly hears Luke scream, "Help me." He wakes up instantly to find an object in his room. It is a UV light device. Upon activating it, some writings become visible on the wall. He is instructed to locate the marked ones. Subsequently, he proceeds to Lou's room while Lou is asleep, attempting to identify the mark on his body. Initially, he cannot find anything, but eventually, he discovers a cross mark on Lou's neck. The following morning, Max's foster parents contacted him to inquire about his location. Max responds that he is doing well and shares his thoughts on assisting the elderly individuals. Subsequently, he stealthily enters Norma's room in search of a clue. However, the room is entirely vacant, and he discovers nothing. Les arrives and questions what he is doing. Max explains that he was searching for something to help him remember Norma. Les, in an angry tone, informs him that all of her belongings have been discarded in the basement since she has no family. Max apologizes for being there and departs. He heads to the basement and finds Norma's possessions in the trash. He retrieves a chess piece and also discovers Norma's diary. Flipping to the last page, he reads a note indicating that Max must be aware of the danger. Lou may be next, and someone could come to alter all of them. Max then proceeds to Lou's room. Lou is sitting with his back turned. Max informs him about the diary, but Lou is mumbling incoherently. Upon checking, Max realizes that Lou is naked and covered in blood, having harmed himself. He is attempting to extract his teeth. Max calls for assistance, and Lou is promptly taken to the operating room. Max begins to feel a sense of suspicion towards the doctor. Returning to his room, he searches for Dr. Sabian. He discovers some research documents regarding how brain age can be altered through the eyes. Suddenly, an unfamiliar email appears. He opens it to find a chat invitation titled Faceless Lady. He accepts it and sees a woman with a disfigured face. She attempts to communicate, but the connection fails as he hears the same scream. The following day, he purchases several security cameras, just as his laptop alerts him with a warning from a lady not to open the door, moments before a loud bang is heard. He promptly shuts the laptop and then reopens it. Juno is outside, assuring him that Lou is now all right. After her departure, Max reopens the laptop. The lady instructs him that he must assist the others. However, when he attempts to inquire further, the connection drops once more. He proceeds to the common room for work and observes that everyone is touching their necks, possibly indicating they are the marked individuals. He goes to tidy up the wardrobe and conceal the camera. Suddenly, Lou surprises him and expresses regret for the earlier incident. Max responds that it is not Lou's fault, but rather the fault of the place itself. Lou does not comment further and walks away. He then conceals the cameras in various locations, including the fourth floor. Returning to his room, he reviews the footage. Unexpectedly, on the fourth floor camera, the same elderly man attempts to communicate, but then he disappears. After some time, Max drifts off to sleep, only to awaken to a noise. He observes Juno, Dr. Sabian, and Les escorting a woman into a room. Additionally, there is an individual dressed in black accompanied by a dog. They all enter a room and shut the door. Without further hesitation, he decides to investigate. He discovers that the door is locked, and from outside, he hears a woman scream. Suddenly, the hooded figure turns to him, prompting him to flee the scene. Upon returning to his room, he encounters Gretchen, the doctor's wife. She discloses that she is the faceless woman who provides him with the UV light and presents documents indicating that the government is conducting brain experiments on elderly individuals, experiments that were previously performed on animals. When Max inquires about her motives, she explains that her father is also a victim of this atrocity. Furthermore, she urges Max to gather additional evidence so they can take legal action against the government. As she attempts to leave, an elderly man assaults her. Max tries to assist, but during the struggle, he falls into a chair and loses consciousness. He subsequently dreams again of the horrific events and awakens on the patient's bed. Juno is there and inquires about his well-being, stating that he requires an examination. She then departs to summon the doctor. Once she is gone, he escapes and returns home to his parents. He recounts everything to them. Upon arriving home, Sylvia introduces Max to the two new foster children, Tazy and Jack, whom they have recently adopted, and then leads Max to his room. Max awakens to find his mother present. He expresses his his apologies for being a burden, to which his mother responds that he acted correctly. She then unexpectedly mentions the phrase, "A heart knows a heart." Max is taken aback for a moment and asks Sylvia about it. She replies that she heard it from a friend, but cannot recall who. After she leaves, he approaches his sisters and inquires if they have ever seen Norma. They respond negatively. He then attempts to search for clues, but uncovers nothing. Frustrated, he returns to his room when his sisters come in and ask him about a secret place. He claims to know nothing. The sisters then point out Norma's chess piece. When he asks about it, they confirm that it is identical to the one found in the secret place. They escort Max to the location and reveal to him the artifact. The site is filled with ritualistic figures, and one of the prominent statues is referred to as the DA, the god of youth. The sisters also bring up several photo albums. Max opens a photo book from 1997 and is taken aback to discover all the elderly individuals he encountered in the home are of the same age. Furthermore, he sees photographs of his parents alongside them. Upon opening another album, he finds a young woman restrained in a chair. As he continues to open additional books, he encounters photographs of the same individuals, with the young person sometimes depicted as a boy or a girl. In the final albums, he sees his brother Luke as the young individual. Overcome with emotion, he tears up the picture and returns home. He ascends to the 4th floor, breaks the lock, and identifies the elderly man as his brother Luke. Max then presents the picture to him and inquires if he recognizes anyone. Luke identifies everyone in the room, all of whom are his friends. Suddenly, Luke begins to grieve, but before he can caution Max, Les renders Max unconscious. Upon awakening, Max finds himself dressed and bound to a chair alongside the other elderly individuals. A photograph is taken. Luke proposes a toast and commends everyone for their exceptional performance, including himself and Getjon. He also references Max's foster parents. In a fit of anger, Max demands to know what is happening. The doctor responds that Max is their sustenance, and they intend to extract all his youth. Subsequently, they all begin chanting in honor of the god D. Max is escorted to the operating room, surrounded by everyone. The doctor informs him that they will extract the nectar from his eyes to ensure eternal youth. Each person present states that they are over 100 years old. In a fit of anger, Max questions his parents about their actions. They respond that this has been their practice for many years. They adopt children, nurture them, and then harvest nectar from them. The doctor then restrains him, opens his eye, and extracts the nectar. Meanwhile, the others revere the DEA and become susceptible. At this point, he finds himself on the 4th floor in a wheelchair, just like the others. Lou approaches and informs Max that he will now feel weaker, akin to being 100 years old. He also notes that Norma had grown overly attached to Max and wished to protect him, which is why she had to perish. Later that night, Max observes Luke retrieving a spike from his chair and begins to gather everyone's nectar one by one. Eventually, he collects his own nectar and administers it all to Max, who then becomes more powerful than ever. Juno goes to check on him, but discovers he is gone. He ambushes her from behind and kills her. He then retrieves a hammer and an axe. He starts a carnage and ruthlessly takes out one by one and punishes them for the cruelty they have inflicted on the victim. Chaos ensues as Lou goes to hide and pray to DA to save him. Juno tries to fight him, but he annihilates both of them. He then approaches Lou and finishes him off. He uses his body as a shield and unalives Sabian as well. Both his parents try to run away, but the roof falls from the storm and cuts them in half. He gathers all of their nectar, liberates Luke, and frees all the residents of the 4th floor. You were watching a recap of the 2025 film The Home. Hit the like button if you have enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel and get notified about our next video. Till then, you may also like this.